Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to a new album review. Now, when I planned this, it was just going to be a review of the new Magnum album. Always look forward to a new Magnum album coming out. And then a few days before this was due to get released, the news broke, the very sad news broke that founder member and guitarist and writer Tony Clarkin had suddenly passed away. So this is not just looking at the new album, but it's a celebration of his songs. So today first up we're going to look at this new album, which probably will be the last Magnum album because I just can't see them going on, in my opinion. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a tribute, and I'm going to pick my favourite songs that Tony wrote. Well, he wrote them all, didn't he? So it's just looking at some of my favourite Magnum songs. So there's a lot of sadness in this and a lot of joy and celebration. So the new album came out last Friday. It's called Here Comes the Rain. Wonderful art illustration again from Rodney Matthews. And this is the 23rd Magnum album, and probably the last. So playing on here is Bob Capley on the vocals, lead guitar and vocals, the wonderful late Tony Clarkin. Rick Benton's on the keyboards, Lee Morris on the drums, and Dennis Ward on the bass. Okay, when you get a new Magnum album, there's always been this excitement. It really has for me. And the first track on here is Run Into the Shadows. It starts off with that classic sort of keyboard intro from Rick Benton. The drums come in with Lee, and then, of course, we get that first sound of Tony. Bob sounds great. There's a lot of people that say he doesn't. I think he sounds great considering his age. He can still sing. All Tony did was turn everything down so Bob still could sing, didn't have to sing the high notes. This is a great song. It's classic Magnum. The chunka chunka melodic riffs, straight song. It's already one of my favourite songs on this album. And the guitar work from Tony is just sublime. When I was listening to it, it's just so sad that we'll never hear this again. And thankfully, we have got this. It's an amazing song. Then we get the title song. Oh, what a gentle, nice melodic rock song. Great bass line here from Dennis Ward. It's always been a nice solid bass. Doesn't matter who, we've had Wally Lowe, Al Barrow, fine bass players, and Dennis has slotted in there nicely. The guitar work from here is brilliant from Tony, at his best. Absolutely killer track. Then we have Some Kind of Treachery. It's a really nice ballad. I love ballads by Magnum. They are so good. Bob's voice, there was a couple of times, sorry, I've just knocked the mic. There's a couple of times when his voice is a little bit going a bit, but you just know, because you've got a lot of respect for Bob, you just say, yeah, it's Bob. Great track though. After the Silence, it's Magnum without even hearing Bob's voice. It's the sound. And a lot of people have said this. They had a unique sound. When you try and explain what they are like, they're like nobody else. It's just in their own thing. Absolutely great track. Blue Tango comes next. Always get a great little rocker on a Magnum album, and this is it. The wonderful harmony vocals, Tony's great guitar work. The drumming on here by Lee Morris is terrific. He's a great drummer. Absolutely brilliant. Then we get another of my favourites on here, the Day He Lied. It's got my favourite guitar solo from Tony on this. It's just top drawer melodic rock, absolutely brilliant. But my favourite track on here already, it's The Seventh Darkness. That lovely Rick Benton's keyboards. I mean, he took over from the great Mark Stanway. Big shoes to fill, and he's filled them perfectly. It's a melodic keyboard thing. You know, this is just Magnum at their best, and they got better as they got older. Brilliant track. Broken City. Broken City. Yeah, there's a little change in Bob's voice, but it's a very solid song. I Want to Live, my favourite ballad on here. Now, Tony wrote some great ballads over the years, and this is up there with them, I think. I love this. It's just fantastic. And next track, and the last track, is Borderline. Brilliant. It's sort of it's another sort of Don't Wake the Lion sort of track. It's got a fantastic guitar solo from Tony. And you know, you listen to this, and that's the last time we'll hear dulcet tones of Tony Clarkin's wonderful guitar. As ever, the wonderful Magnum deliver another strong album. But there's so much sadness around this album, isn't there? This is probably the last one. I can't believe. But they are, over the years, 23 albums, all very consistent. It's very hard to pick a bad track on any of the albums. I think it's very sad, but what a wonderful way to say goodbye to Tony. It's a shame he'll never hear how popular this will be. I think this will be, the fans will come out for this. It's just from start to finish, it's got all the classic Magnum traits, wonderful melodic riffs, wonderful singing from Bob, some great drumming from Lee. The keyboard work from Rick is super on this. They are such an underrated band. They deserved more success than they got. They were big, but they could have been bigger. So for this album, I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Yeah, and there will be at some stage a tier ranking of Magnum. Not quite sure when I'm going to do it, but when I give this album a great listen, I'll probably do that. Okay, let's turn our attentions to the great man himself. First time I saw Tony, he'd got the big beard and the hat and the long coats. First time I saw Magnum was actually in 85. Saw them at, was it 85, 86? I saw them at Milton Keynes with Marillion, and I saw them on the Vigilante tour as well. And I saw them, I think, on the next 3 or 4 tours. Seen them with Quo and Chelmsford, and they were just a great live band. But over the years, Tony has left us with some great songs. So here are 10 of mine, and I've got some honourable mentions, and the lot will go in the playlist today with a few tracks off the new album as well. So this is celebrating Tony Clarkin Day. So my number 10 is from 1982, off the Chase the Dragon album, and it's the wonderful The Spirit. Oh, I love this. I love the acoustic guitars, and then it goes into the rock. But when I saw them on the Vigilante tour, it was a pure acoustic. Bob, Tony, and us. We practically sang the choruses. Absolutely killer track. Bob was brilliant that night. It's just a wonderful track, and that's why it's my number 10. Coming in at number 9, now this is going on a few years. This is going to 1994, and the album before they split up and become Hard Rain for a little while, from Rock Art, and it's the Tool Ships. Absolutely stunning track, brilliant live. One of the great songs off this album, melodic. Mark Stanway's little keyboard is brilliant on this. The lyrics are great. I love this song, just terrific. Oh, coming in at number 8, we go near enough up to date. From 2020, the Serpent Rings album and the title track. This is an absolute classic. I thought their later work was some of Tony's finest. They just got better and better. This is absolutely brilliant. It's got the classic elements. I consider this a modern day How Far Jerusalem. And on a Storyteller's Night, rolled into one song. The lyrics are fantastic. The guitar solo is brilliant, and Bob's on fire on this track. It's an absolute brilliant track. Okay, coming in at number 7, we go to 1986 now, and the Vigilante album and the title track. Even with rock going through that poppy sound in the 80s, this came along. This is Mickey Barker's debut album as well. His drumming on this is fantastic. It's always been a firm favourite live, and it sounds a lot heavier live. One of the first songs I heard them play live. Absolutely brilliant. I just love this. It was still a brand new track when this came out. Classic now. Absolute classic. Okay then, coming in at number 6, we're going to my favourite album by Magnum from 1985, On a Storyteller's Night. It's the wonderful L'amour's dansant. What a night for the dancing dead. One of Tony's finest. There's some great drumming on this. It's Jim Simpson on the drums on this one. But there's a wonderful live version of this, and I think it's on Spirit, the live album for the Wings of Heaven tour. It's got a wonderful Wally Low bass line on it. Great vocal from Bob again. It's a shimmery song. Fantastic song. Okay, coming in at number 5. We go way back to 1982. And a song that wasn't on an album, but it was a single. And it's the wonderful Back to Earth. One of my favourite tracks. The drumming on this is brilliant. I think it's Lex Goran or whatever his name was doing the thing. It's got some lovely keyboards from Mark Stanway, but it's got that chuggy Tony Clarkin bass line and Wally Lowe's bass line, and you've got that chunky riff from Tony. I've seen this live. It's absolutely killer. They opened up with this on their... They opened up with it on the farewell tour, and they also opened up with it on their Wings of Heaven tour. When I saw them, they opened up with this. Absolutely killer track. Always a firm favourite with the fans. Okay, coming in number 4, we're going back to On a Storyteller's Night for the opening track, How Far Jerusalem. Great opening keyboards, some wonderful guitar work, and that wonderful bass solo from Wally Lowe that you get on the live album. Absolutely killer track. Okay, number 3, we go to 1978. The Kingdom of Madness album, and it's the title track, Kingdom of Madness. I love the start of this. The guitar between Tony Clarkin and Richard Bailey is fantastic. You've got the guitar and the flute And I love how this builds up. That dun 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 builds up. A great fan favourite. Now, I was lucky enough to see a band called Kingdom of Madness, which is basically Mark Stanway and ex-members of thing. So I've heard Tony do the riff, and I've heard Richard Bailey doing the flute as well. It's just one of the great songs of that early period that everybody still loves to this day. Okay, coming in at number 2. Go to 1988 now. And their sort of breakthrough album, Wings of Heaven. So many good tracks on here, but the one I love the most is the last track, Don't Wake the Lion. The epic of what is Don't Wake the Lion. It's all set round the beginning of the First World War. One of Tony's finest songs. The studio version is fantastic, but to see this live is fantastic. I've seen them, I think, perform it 3 times. The highlight of always this is Mickey's drumming. It's probably, I think it's their longest song. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe it is. It's just got a fantastic guitar solo in it from Tony, and the riffs all the way through this song are just mind-blowing. Always sounds good under the headphones. It's probably one of Bob's finest vocals as well in Magnum. But my number 1 song, of course, it's from 1985, and it is the title track of the album, On a Storyteller's Night. This is the greatest thing Tony ever wrote. It starts off with that lovely Mark keyboard, the daunting vocal of Bob, and it's got the best solo that Tony ever put down. My favourite version of this is when I saw them on the Wings of Heaven tour, because you get the guitar solo, which is absolutely brilliant, and then it's followed up by Mark doing it on the keyboard. Absolutely dynamite, and I just love this track. Always will, always have. And I think that is the definitive version on the Wings of Heaven tour. It's not on an album, it's on the DVD, which we will do a review of, because it definitely needs some love. Okay, I have got some honourable mentions. This list could have gone on and on and on, but I've left it for 3. So, first of the honourable mentions is a single from 1979. It's Changes. One of their really early tracks. That wonderful intro from Richard Bailey. It's always a great track, and I remember them doing this at Milton Keynes, and it just went down absolutely brilliant. I mean, I've seen Mark's intros are good, but I've actually seen Richard Bailey do his interpretation when I saw Kingdom of Madness. It's just a great track. That melodic riff from Tony as well is just terrific. Okay, we're coming more up to date to 2011 and the Visitation album, and the track is Midnight Kings. I've included this one because it's one of my favourite newer songs. I think it's incredibly good. It's got 2 sides of Tony. You've got some lovely acoustic guitar, and then you get this absolutely cracking guitar solo. Absolutely stonking track. My last one. We go to 1992 now, and the Sleepwalking album, and The Flood. Absolutely brilliant from that opening riff from Tony. Grabs you in straight away. The daunting Kately vocal, Mark's wonderful melodic keyboard run, and Mickey's drumming on this, some of the best that he ever did. And also live, this was brilliant out live. It opened up their set as a great concert. This is where I actually bumped. This is the concert I nearly knocked a pint of beer out of Bob Catley's hand at the bar. I turned round. Whew. Yeah, great stuff. And then all them years later, I met was chatting to Mickey Barker, and we were talking about this gig because it was in the same venue. Excellent. And I'm just going to have one more mention because we've talked about him this week. Tony actually co-wrote a song with the wonderful Russ Ballard, and it was a single that was on the Good Night LA album, and it's Rocking Chair. I love this. Real heavy melodic bass line, and it's just a great track. A bit of a departure for Magnum this was, but bringing in the great Russ Ballard to help write was a genius stroke, and it's a fantastic song. Okay then, there we go. A little bit of a tribute to the great Tony Clarkin. He will be missed, not just because of his playing, but the wonderful songs he wrote, and he arranged all these songs, and he's left so many memories. Anyway, that's all for today. But I'll be back tomorrow. If it's Saturday, there's not many times I come out on a Saturday, and it's because it's Iain and Richard again. And it's an idea that Richard had, going through my top 10 best bands, and we had to find the worst album and why we think it's the worst album in the catalogue. So that's coming tomorrow. Have a good day. It's bright and cold again today, but it's better than rain. So I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.